We're on. We're live.
It's just live now. People can see us.
Look at that. Technology. Hello.
Hello. So,
Are we recording as well? Wonderful.
Yeah, is anyone watching us?
Who knows? Oh, nobody at the moment. There's zero doubt.
So does that send a tweet automatically? So people...
I think it'll send a notification to all my subscribers that we're live, and people will be then.
Let's see a bit more of me. Hang on a minute. There we are.
There we go.
Hopefully everyone can hear us.
Hello, everybody.
Cheers. Cheers. What you got?
It's almost chewy. That was nice. This is a little bit thicker than I was expecting. It's called Jail Ale. I think it's a Dartmoor. I think it was.
Dartmoor Ale.
I think so.
My neck of the woods. Devonshire.
It's nice. So people can see now. It's quite a red ale colour. Not an IPA. It's nice, warm, sort of room temperature. Bit of a nice head on that. Bit of toffee in there.
Bit nutty.
Nutty, nice.
Making it up.
Nice. Yeah. And you've got.
I've got Thatcher. It's Thatcher's cider. It's called Stan, isn't it? It's just called Stan's cider, which is lovely.
How is that different to the other Thatcher's ciders?
Well, it's cloudier.
Okay. But not as cloudy as Hayes, presumably.
No, it's not a. Yeah, it's quite sweet, which is good. It's actually quite. I don't know if it's supposed to be, but it's not very cold. Whether it's supposed to be a raw room temperature cider, but it's all right. It hits the spot.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the Bell in Sherdington. It's a little bit, almost like a trip down memory lane, in that I lived a few houses down from this pub many years ago when I was a teenager.
So this is kind of Cheltenham area with Cheltenham postcode.
On the outskirts of Cheltenham.
Yeah.
And it's got it's an old English pub. And it's got a cricket square just out the back, where I've played both cricket and football in my past. So we just had a nice chef's special.
Had a bit of a meal, didn't we? Very nice.
Getting together, first time since the summer break.
We have a
viewer. We have a viewer. Hello, viewer.
Hello. Cheers. Do they send us messages?
I don't know. I've no idea. We've got a like.
There you
Thumbs
go.
up.
This is technology. Amazing.
No idea whether it works or not. But this is a reward for the YouTube subscribers.
Is it an exclusive?
An exclusive, yeah. Nobody else will get to see this. We're not going to save it for future benefit. You have to be here or that's it.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll try it again next time. See how it goes. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
So how's your summer been?
Busy.
Quick catch up.
Yeah. So I've had a nice long break over the summer. A lot of family time.
Yeah.
A lot of not a lot of work.
Good.
So the benefit of being self-employed is that I can take a lot of time off when I need to. Oh, it's Tony Richards. Hello, Tony. Is it cold in that pub? Yeah. We're wearing jumpers, Tony. It is cold.
It's autumnal.
Yeah. You look very. Yeah. We've got a kind of a woolly
Sweater.
fisherman's
Yeah,
jumper.
hoodie. This is more. I could wear this to work. I couldn't really wear that to work.
No, that's true. No. So back to me. Took some time off. Went to Canada.
Canada.
I
think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah. And that was we took a long summer holiday with the kids. 4 weeks total, just under 4 weeks. 3 of those weeks in a camper van, which was good fun. Proper outdoorsy holiday. Kids loved it, and different place more or less every day. And it's just nice to kind of clear my calendar, basically. Try not to look at too many emails and just.
You weren't able to switch off completely?
No, I couldn't. No, unfortunately not. My wife wouldn't let me. She wouldn't. She tells me to check in. So no, I do. I checked in every few days or so just to.
See the world wasn't burning.
Yeah, to keep checking on things, emails and stuff. But no, it was nice to. I like the outdoors. It was nice just to be able to be outdoors pretty much all day, every day.
You like the outdoors, don't you?
Yeah. So and it's one of the things I miss most about having the type of job that I do have is that unfortunately I have to spend a lot of time indoors. So it's nice to get outside and walk around and walk up hills, walk down hills. My kids hated that.
Did they?
Kids hated the hills. Hated walking generally. So
just not used to it.
No.
Little legs.
But
as
we
well.
forced them. The walks got shorter as the holiday went on because
Okay.
the kids moaned more.
Did they get better? Did they enjoy it more? Or were
No,
they...
yeah. They got. It's amazing how, as the holiday went on, when they didn't have access to things that they would have had at home, like phones, iPads, TVs, they just forgot about them. They just completely forgot that they had what was on television. They just made. They'd go out outside the camper van and just make dens. You know, you've got you've got a beautiful forest all the way around you. You've got a lake you can swim in for nothing. Just go and enjoy the outdoors. So it was.
Reminds me of my time on the island.
Yeah, it was. It probably wasn't quite as basic as what you were doing on the island, but it was.
Still.
No flush toilets, Jeff. So
That's, yeah.
I'll let you come to your own conclusions there if you're listening in. So yeah.
It seems like I haven't seen you for a while.
What's
happened?
What have you been up to?
Holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday. And breaking news: the Watts family is expanding. Yeah.
Go on.
Huge age gap. Getting back into the parenting game.
You're gonna have another baby.
We're gonna have, we're having another baby. Yeah. T-shirts printed 16, 12. Yes, it is a big age gap. And underneath, not an accident.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, quite scary.
There's a lot of
but
hashtags
equally
in there.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's it due?
February.
Nice.
Yeah. So 2019 is going to be an interesting year.
Busy year.
Busy year.
Not a lot of sleep for you though.
Well, there's nothing new there really. I haven't really got a sleeping habit to be broken, so whether that's a good thing or not.
We should mostly say congratulations, mate.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
So yeah, that's taken up most of the summer really, trying to keep that secret and do a little bit of planning without planning too much.
Yeah.
It's just a long time since we've done all that stuff really.
I'm sure
But
you won't. Surely you don't forget. These
Hopefully
things.
it's like riding a bike, it'll all come back to you.
Yeah, you don't forget. You've brought up 2 kids successfully. A third won't be a problem.
So that was mostly the summer, and yeah, back to work for the last couple of weeks. And back to it. It's been a while since we've done one of these, isn't it?
Yeah, we did say we were going to have a little break over the summer, which we did. With some time apart, and
I'd like to
back
say
on it.
that everybody's been clamouring for us to start again, but we haven't really had much.
No.
But hey, there we go.
We'll carry on.
Maybe they didn't know what they were missing until it's back again.
Tony's here. Tony's listening.
Yeah, love you, Tony. We could have a topic. I got a Twitter message yesterday
Right.
from somebody saying this would be a good topic for a pubcast. So maybe we tackle that.
Go for it.
I need to remember what it is, and of course now my phone is recording, so I can't
You're gonna
access
have to
message, access the memory banks.
Yeah.
It was from Rich Birch, who is actually one of our loyal followers, one of our loyal listeners.
Yeah.
And he was asking a question. I may get the words wrong, but hopefully I get the sentiment right. In how likeable should you be as a Scrum Master? How easy to get on with should you be as a Scrum Master? Should you push? How far should you push? That kind of thing. And there were a few responses. I mean, some people were quite adamant in saying, no, you should really be a troublemaker, be really provocative. You know, if you're not kicking up a stink, you're not doing a good job.
Right.
Some people saying you can only push as far as you can, otherwise everything can backfire. And he asked me for my opinion. My opinion was on. I'm quite a big fan of Scrum Masters provoking change, but a dead Scrum Master is a useless Scrum Master. So I talk a lot about how, in my book, about Scrum Masters being tactful and diplomatic and respectful, but never settling for things just because that's the way they are. Part of your responsibility, I believe, is to keep the ball moving, even if it's just slowly. Just keep it moving. What are your thoughts?
I'm trying to think of how I used to do it, how I see myself as a Scrum Master. I think, Scrum Master or not, I like to at least think that people like me. That's a big part of my personality, what drives me.
Okay.
And on the whole, I do make an effort to try and get on with people. Try and enjoy the work environment. And that's obviously a lot harder if you're deliberately or even accidentally upsetting people or disagreeing with people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a general personality trait, and that's probably what my natural stance is to try and not be I wouldn't say be nice, but be civil
Yeah.
and be pleasant to be around. But I think there does come times where you have to dig your heels into it to a degree. I think at times in Nokia when looking back at the time when I did things based on principle that I thought I was being nice to my team, but I wasn't being it then backfired on other people outside that team.
Such as?
So in a situation where I wanted my team to leave work at a reasonable hour on a Friday afternoon, I allowed them. I said, "We're all going to leave.
Yeah.
We're going. I've got a young family. I want to go home. I don't see why you should stay here and later than me. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go home." That put a lot of people viewed that quite negatively. I got a lot of funny looks when I came back in the office on Monday. Put a few noses out of joint on the Monday morning, and my boss had words with me about it, saying, "You're not setting a good example here because other people did have to stay late on Friday and come in on Saturday, but your team didn't."
Yeah.
So, I think it can backfire if you're being too nice.
Yeah.
That can have consequences. But I think generally, I tried purely for my own job satisfaction. I tried to be. You can be respected without being liked? Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more important to be respected than to be liked. And you were saying a little bit about being civil.
Yeah.
I think you can be civil and still challenge. You can be civil and you can still be provocative. You can still stir things. For me, I think authenticity is important.
Yeah.
So
integrity. Yeah.
If you're staying true to yourself, who you are, then you can challenge because that's the kind of challenge that's expected of you.
Yeah.
I think expectations are important as well.
Yeah.
So if I'm working with a team and the team expect the Scrum Master to be a bit of a provocateur, someone who will challenge them, then that's obviously easily accepted. It can take time to build up the rapport, the relationship to the level that you can do that in an effective way. But if I'm not naturally someone who challenges, and yet at some point out of the blue I come to work and I start being really provocative, that's not authentic.
No.
And it will seem inauthentic. It will just jar with the people that I'm working with. I think that's something that puts people's noses out. But equally, I suppose, the fact that it's got to a stage where I feel I have to act outside of my normal state would perhaps increase that sense of this is important, this is urgent.
Aren't you also more likely to reflect the attitudes, the personalities of the people around you? Isn't this that the longer you're embedded in that team, are you more likely? If you're for instance surrounded by a group of very nice people, that are very polite, wouldn't want to upset anyone in any way. If you're in that school, will you assume a lot of those personality traits, or do you think and it wouldn't become culturally as accepted to be different?
I suppose there is a risk of that. Conversely, I found my role was kind of fluid in that I would try and adopt the stance that the team needed of me then. But it takes quite a bit of self-awareness to realise that you're going native, as the term might be.
I certainly suffered from that in BT, where you became part of the institution.
Yeah.
There was a question.
There was a question coming up on how to access it.
I'll find it. But certainly in BT, you felt, and I was aware, and maybe sometimes it was people that had left that told me you don't want to don't want to become part of the system.
Yeah.
You suddenly start to check yourself, saying, am I even saying the right things? Am I not seeing what I should be seeing now? Am I not saying what I should be saying because I've just accepted the way that things go here.
Yeah. I'll link that to something that I think I brought up before. It's something outside of the realm of Scrum itself, but something that I think has been a big part of what I've been pushing for a while, which is to bring more of the professional coaching world into the agile coaching world.
Yeah.
And that is, it's quite hard to notice that yourself.
Yeah.
It can also be quite hard for the team to notice it because you're in the middle of it. So having someone neutral, a supervisor, a buddy, a pair, a peer, mentor, whatever you want to call it, who can keep you honest, who you can reflect objectively with on situations. Am I being a bit too nice here?
Yeah.
And that professional coaching, supervision, coaching the coach, could actually help you understand, well, what is going on for you when you say being liked is important to you, and how, at what point is that helping you, and at what point is that not helping you. So when you do have a conflict, when you do challenge somebody, when you do pull somebody up on something, and the feeling you get, name it and analyse it and figure out whether that's valuable.
Yeah.
Tony, can you ask that question again, and we'll read it this time?
He's typing away frantically. Trying to think. So another situation, more recently, that I've been coaching and training another organisation, another team. I picked up on my instinctive reaction was, you're all being too nice.
Yeah.
There was a situation that they came to me with, okay, we've got this situation, this problem, and nobody's dealing with it because nobody wants to offend, nobody wants to, and I kind of asked them the question, well, what do you think a different Scrum Master, how would a textbook Scrum Master approach this? And they gave me a very different answer as to what they would do. So it's kind of like, I think people do try and maybe too much sometimes. If everyone else is being nice, it's harder to be cruel.
This is morphing into giving effective feedback.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm at risk of that filtering my view, because I know I've got a workshop coming up with the team next week on that topic.
Yeah.
This team haven't had a lot of experience or practice at giving and receiving feedback as a team, and they want to develop that as a skill, and having the language tools and having the communication tools to help them do that. I did a workshop yesterday, and part of that was about creating a vision. So a group of product owners, they're working with different products, and so we got them I gave them some tools and techniques for creating visions, and then they had to then share that with other people and get some feedback on it. And it was interesting that the feedback aspect of it was the biggest eye opener for them. In that they'd never really felt comfortable giving feedback to each other. But the fact that I'd given them a structure, in this case it was the perfection game, they felt then they had permission to give balanced feedback, and it didn't feel as personal. And I think sometimes that can be a big thing in these situations in an organisation. If I try something, if I push the boundaries, are the people whose boundaries I'm pushing viewing that as me doing that, or my role doing that, or something else?
I think that's why sometimes it's hard to be that Scrum Master that I think in many respects embedding yourself as a Scrum Master is a vital part of the role, but at other times it can be a hindrance because you can't be as neutral. So for instance, it's so easy for me to go in as an external Agile coach to say, I've noticed that just from what I've seen here that probably needs addressing. It's much harder to do that when you are part of that system, when you are part of that team. And maybe I know in BT and in Nokia we used to rotate people around, like you suggest, buddy up, or just literally just shift the Scrum Masters around one team each. Not do it all the time, but one sprint in three, you'd all
just keep it fresh.
You would all just facilitate someone else's retro, just to give you a more neutral and to give you a different perspective on how other teams are doing.
I think that's become quite common. I think a lot of organisations have Scrum Master communities to coach and support each other and challenge each other. And that's the place to get started. I think if you can't challenge yourself as a group of Scrum Masters, how can you expect to challenge other people who should be able to understand and empathise with the difficult position you're in. So that's practice it, really, I think. A lot of it's down to fear of consequences. Are people going to judge me? How are people going to react? We tend to perhaps overanalyze and over-dramatise the potential consequences. Often the reaction is nowhere near as severe or as bad as we think.
No.
And so just thinking it through that way can help.
Yeah.
Still
Tony did send you a message on your WhatsApp.
Can't get the question back. But, so I think it was something. So there was something Rich Birch followed up with. Where's the line?
Yeah.
How do you know where the line is? And I think that line moves. It's context dependent. So it depends on the maturity of the team, the maturity of the organisation. I think the strength of the relationships, the amount of respect that you've built up as a Scrum Master. Our old boss, Dev, used to talk about money in the bank, didn't he? Goodwill. How much goodwill have you built up with people? Because every now and again you might need to cash that in, either because you've made a mistake or you need a favour, you need some help. Or perhaps in this case, you need to just be quite provocative.
Yeah. I know I've certainly found it easier to be provocative when I first started at Nokia, because I felt, I don't know whether you feel untouchable or whether it's just a false level of security, but when I joined the company, I had enthusiasm, and I also had a different experience and a comparison to make. So I felt as empowered as I ever had to just say, I don't think we should do it that way. So this sense of invulnerability when I join, perhaps probably when I'm at my most vulnerable is actually when I just start, because they could just actually, you're not cut out for this, see you later.
But you don't really feel that vulnerable. It's a bit of a strange analogy. Maybe I shouldn't use it. But at the start of a sports match, the referee's less likely to book you because it's hard.
Yeah.
And you have almost that grace period, and also you have that kind of magical appearance. You're someone who's come from outside. You're going to bring something here, and the team are kind of expecting things from you.
Yeah.
The organisation has hired you for a reason. They obviously hired you because you can add something. So show me what you've got.
Yeah. You're willing to.
So there's that sort of grace honeymoon period at the start, and also perhaps a little bit towards the end of your time there, where you think, well, what's the worst that can happen? I'm probably going to leave anyway, and go down in flames if nothing else.
It reminds me of an interesting question that we ask sometimes in our courses. One of your coaching questions: if this was your last day in the office, what would you say now that you wouldn't say before? And just trying to give that, just that artificial, if you like, that mask of saying, if you did have permission to do anything here, carte blanche, what would you do? And then work back from that to say, okay, so is any elements of that actually true or possible?
Or we could work towards.
Yeah.
I do like that one. If this was your last day in the company, what would you do then?
Yeah.
Or if you knew there would be absolutely no consequences to your actions, what would you do then?
Yeah.
Similar kind of vein, other questions, like if there was going to be a report written up about the decision you make right now, what would be what would you like them to highlight? What would you like that report to say?
Yeah.
I think those are good hypothetical questions to help people think through what they would actually like to do. When the question popped up on the screen, I saw what is the role, but there was a lot of other words in there as well. So I'm gonna guess what the rest of that question was from Tony. I think it was something along the lines of, so then what is the true role of the Scrum Master? Is it to provoke change, or is it to create a sense of safety? Is it consolidation? That's what I'm going to intend.
Okay. And there's, because I think it's I think it's probably double-sided here. So I think firstly, a Scrum Master, from my point of view, if I was being hired as a Scrum Master, my primary concern is the team, first of all. First and foremost, my primary responsibility is the team growing, is the team as productive as it can be. So I'd work internally first of all. And to do that, I probably would develop rapport, because if you want people to go with you on a new way of working, you need a sense of rapport, a sense of respect, probably also. But I think it changes then. I think once you've developed that and you've established relationships and you've established a way of working, you can you don't change your personality slightly, but you would just approach different challenges in different ways. And you probably are going to then come back across people that you haven't worked with very often, that you do have to perhaps be a bit more firm with, that probably would challenge you in a different way. And then I think you do have to subtly work back to perhaps more of an educational stance by saying, look, okay, you're not hearing me right now, we should do it this way. Yeah. This is going to be a good thing to do. I can think of an example in Nokia when I had a fairly well established, or I was fairly well established as a Scrum Master by then with one team, and I wanted to go back to my boss to suggest that we merge two teams together to make a feature team. And I just had to convince, really, my boss that this is the right thing to try, even though it was completely new. It would mean tearing two teams up and starting again. And yeah, I didn't want to be too nice about it. I was trying to be a bit more authoritative about it, I suppose, saying that...
Did your team want that?
No.
Okay.
Not really. So I was prepared to go out on a bit of a limb, saying I fundamentally believe that this is a good thing to do.
And what pushed you then, if you think your team wasn't going to be happy about it, what pushed you to the point where you were prepared to do it even though your team wouldn't like it?
I suppose I just firmly believe that it couldn't be any worse. In terms of, I don't see how this will be any worse off by trying this out.
Okay.
Just I suppose a passion for, when you introduce the word passion, because sometimes passion can create animosity. And people think, oh, he's just so passionate about it.
Okay.
Kind of evangelistic about it, and that's when I think sometimes even coaches get a bad name because you're being too evangelical about this. But is that always a bad thing? Sometimes that might be what's absolutely required to try something new.
Yeah. So you saw things getting worse, and you thought, the way things are at the moment aren't good.
Well,
they might get better, but they couldn't get worse.
Yeah.
And you also said about trying it.
Proof of concept.
So removing the extremity, removing the scale of the situation.
Yeah.
So we only have to try it rather than do it, which
Yeah.
can make it a little bit easier to do something.
Yeah.
And equally a little bit easier for other people to go along with it.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to try this for a fixed period of time with the hope that this will happen? But if it doesn't happen, then we can always go back.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good strategy.
And it comes back to humility as well. I think you can, again, try not to. You don't have to be liked by them, but you've got to be prepared to be wrong, and not to be so belligerent that your word is the final word. You can still be direct, and you can still be, quite passionate about it, but there's a chance that, all being said, I could be wrong about this. Yeah. I'm prepared to be proved wrong.
I think that's an important thing to pick apart a little bit more, actually. So in terms of where that line is, that Rich was saying, on the one hand, if you can see something that's probably for the team's benefit that they might not be open to right now, that could be perceived as a little bit of arrogance. Yeah, I can see something that you cannot see. Or my idea is better than your current status quo.
Yeah.
Which can be quite difficult for some people to actually step up and say. But equally, you need to be a little bit confident in your own assessment without being arrogant. But equally humble enough to not make people think, see, I told you were wrong, and be so confident that people want you to fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
even at their expense. If that makes sense.
Because of that, it's my own downfall.
Yeah. So someone, one of the responses on Twitter, like I said, was very much quite happy and proud and very confident that actually, their approach of deliberately being quite provocative, getting people's backs up. If I'm not making a fuss, then I'm not doing my job properly. And there's a big part of me that really sort of leans towards that. A bit of a troublemaking background myself, quite like that. But I can see how that could end in disaster quite quickly. So it requires either a lot of security or a lot of support. And so my general response was, as long as you can challenge with empathy, with respect, with tact and diplomacy, with positive intent, then generally people will be receptive to it. They'll listen to you.
So just to pick up on where Rich is going with this and some of the responses you've had, something I'm perhaps a bit conscious of and wary of is I don't like the idea that a Scrum Master necessarily, and I think this could well be the case in some organisations, where Scrum Masters become a feared entity.
Feared by whom?
Feared by teams.
Okay.
Like you mentioned the word troubleshooter, or you probably didn't even troublemaker. But they could quite easily be perceived as people that you don't want to cross, you don't want necessarily to be too well acquainted with, possibly. If they've developed a reputation in the company, we can think of people in BT that would be parachuted in to fix broker, and they were seen though as bullies, as kind of dominating kind of these characters that you would never cross, you never question what they say, but as a Scrum Master, you do want people to question you. You do want to grow that sense of learning within a team.
Yeah,
and there's a danger that if you become that character that people do fear, that troubleshooter, that firefighter, whatever you want to call it, this kind of go-to troubleshooter.
What was the Harvey Keitel character in Pulp Fiction?
Oh, the Mr. Wolf.
Mr. Wolf.
Yeah.
He was the fixer, wasn't he?
Exactly. But there's this air of, do you really want to be that persona that everyone? I wouldn't even say anything dare say anything to you directly.
No, I think that's authenticity again, isn't it? I think that just wouldn't come naturally to me. Do this because I say so. And so is
that charisma that goes with it? Do you think you need charisma?
I think charisma is a separate thing. It's definitely part of it, but I think that element of, if I were to, I think there are people that comes naturally too, and you can kind of respect that in a way, and you can almost tolerate it in a way because you think, well, that's just them. It becomes less effective over time, and it's probably not a good long-term strategy in terms of developing resilience and self-management and that.
But that could get you respect.
If you see results really quickly, if I'm a team and someone's come in, who's a little bit more proactive than me and you, who are just there to make friends and be nice.
It could get you respect from different people, from different parts of the organisation. It could get you recognition. And one of the things I used to say was, if you want respect from a team, is you solve their biggest impediment. You solve the biggest problem they're currently having. That can gain respect. On an organisational level, you solve the organisation's biggest impediment. That can get you respect from the organisation. So that can help, but I can see how it also could create a bit of a fear around how nasty you could, Mr. Nasty you could be.
Yeah. Has your desire to be nice and be liked by your teams ever caused that particular team any problems?
Well, I can. Yeah, I can't give you evidence, but I can hypothesize it has. Like with that whole idea of leaving early, you see five members of a team walk out the office together. They meet up with someone 2 hours later who's been in the office for an extra 2 hours. Surely they would. How come you managed to leave at 5 today?
But
we were all kept in late.
So that's affected the people that didn't leave.
Yeah. But surely that's made them feel bad about that. If they were prepared, if the socially accepted way of working was to stay late and they left early, they'd feel uncomfortable about that.
Maybe, yeah. So I'm thinking of some of the teams that I've worked with in the past where they've made some progress, they've developed, but actually they're in a sort of comfort zone now. So they've kind of got their process pretty good. Things are going quite well, but it can still improve quite a bit. Do you then rock the boat? Do you risk creating a bit of tension, a bit of upset, a bit of friction, a bit of stress because you know that team can get even better? Or do you just bubble along quite nicely? And I think not being someone who challenges the team in that situation is selling that team short. But they won't see it that way, probably, to begin with. And that's that challenge of, I guess, humility and belief in the team.
Good question.
I guess in the way that I typically tackle that now is I would genuinely ask the team where they think they were in terms of the best teams that they've seen, the best teams that they've been part of. Would they say that they were at the top, or maybe a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, and ask them how much would they like to get even better than they are right now. I think there has to be a desire from that team. Because usually, in my experience, by the time you've got the team, or the team themselves have got to that point, they are generally one of the better teams in the organisation.
Yeah.
So you could quite rightly spend a lot more time focused on the lower performing teams, or the less functional teams.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know whether we've got closure. It can be too nice. I think a Scrum Master is not at their most effective if they are worried about being liked too much.
And they're prepared to be not liked.
Disliked. And I think you can be disliked while still being respected and respectful.
Yeah, and maintain your integrity.
Yeah.
It's about we've said this before about labelling people, and you can still, and I'm guilty of this sometimes with my kids of saying, "You're not Jocelyn, you're a naughty girl," but she's not. She's just being naughty.
Yeah.
So you can be nice, but I'm a nice person, but sometimes I'm just being not nice. You know what I mean?
Well, the phrase "being cruel to be kind" is there for a reason, right? Sometimes people need to hear the message that. There was actually one of the responses to that Twitter thread was. If someone doesn't like what they see in the mirror, they can't blame the mirror.
Yeah.
So if you're as a Scrum Master simply holding the mirror up and saying, "Look, this is what I'm seeing," I'm not judging it.
No.
I'm just reflecting back what I can see. Are you happy with that? If not, what help do you need to change it? Then they can't really. I suppose when you let judgment leak into it, that's where it can become.
Yeah. That's something we always say is make observations, not judgments.
Yeah.
Make powerful observations. No one can criticise you for making an observation.
Well, they can, but they have this right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. They can't deny the objective data. They can deny your subjective interpretation.
Yeah.
But at times, as you get more respect and you build that relationship, actually some people will be looking for your judgment. They will be looking for your interpretation, and to some degree to an unhealthy level.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this in case Paul disapproves. Well, sorry, but screw Paul's interpretation. If you know that it's the right thing to do,
Yeah.
actually maybe they need to do something that would upset you
Yeah.
in order to become the better team. We're back.
That's it. Yeah. Good chat. I've got to re-engage my brain after
I've been back a
big
couple of weeks,
summer
so I
off.
guess I'll get a head start. You're still jet lagged, aren't you?
I am. Worst jet lag I've ever had. I came across three time zones.
Is that all?
Yeah, 3 time zones. I think it is.
I mean, 3 times.
I changed my clock twice when I was away.
Okay.
So flew back from Vancouver, so that's Pacific time. So yeah, 8 hours difference is an absolute killer. West to east is a beast. as
You've
they
done
say.
that a lot more than I have.
Yeah, it was the worst jet lag I've ever had. Terrible.
Anyway,
On that note,
thanks to our live stream viewers,
yes, well done for turning up.
all of you. And yeah, let's see how it went. Get some feedback on that. Cheers.
Cheers,
Till next time.
cheers, everyone.
How do you stop this thing?